Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 31 of the Generations of the Game podcast. Of course, I'm your co-host, JP. Of course, I have my co-host, one of your hosts, JP. I have my co-host besides me here, Mr. Will Lyons. How you doing tonight, good brother?
Hey, I'm good, bro. It's time to get down to business. We back, baby.
We back. Yes, sir. And of course, our third co-host, JJ, he won't be he has some previous obligations he had to do, so he won't be on with us this night. But looking forward to a great show. And let's start it off right away. Back for part two of the interview. We got my good brother Jeff Wilson on with us tonight. Good evening, brother Jeff. How you doing?
Oh, wow, it's an absolute pleasure again to be the president of you all, to invite me back on for the second time. I'm really, really honored. All praise to the Heavenly Father, Son, and Holy Spirit for you all and everyone watching tonight. Blessings be unto everyone. Really appreciate it. The honor of being back on here again to talk about some things that, you all gave me a platform to talk about. So I appreciate you all deeply. Thank you so much again.
Yes, sir. Thank you for joining, good brother, of course. And we're going to get right into it. We're going to get into the Olympics real quick. Before we get into basketball, I think we have to talk about young lady, the GOAT of gymnastics, Miss Simone Biles. Earlier today, she won the all-around title in the gymnastics, and yesterday Monday night they won the team title. So, brother Jeff, you're the special guest. Go on and talk about Miss Simone Biles, bro, and what is she doing?
Gymnastics is a different animal within the mechanical development. You have to start early. It's not like, Deontay Wilder in boxing starting at age 18 and became world champion. It don't work like that in gymnastics. I'm just amazed by Suni Lee as well too. The whole Olympic team has just Olympics period. I go back to Mary Lou Retton. Tell you a quick story about being Benji watching that and how she won, and I'm gonna share a truth with you about my brother. When she won gold, Mary Lou Retton in '84, she was crying, and we was watching that together. So I don't want to choke up, but me and my brother were super close. And Benji said to me, "Man," he started clapping. He was so, what you call it, animated. And he says, "I'm not gonna cry." He said, "You know what? I might cry when I win gold." That's right.
Wow.
So looking at going back from the memories of that to, here now within Simona Biles, what she's doing. I forget some, Dominique Dawes. I remember her very, very well. Shannon Miller. I remember a lot. I watch the Olympics every year. It's the most awesome time of the year within the best athletes of this country against the other athletes of the best of their country. So she was injured on one foot. If I'm not mistaken, she was injured.
Yeah, she hurt her calf. Yeah,
and I looked at her maturity, man. She says, "I'm." I think she's 27 years old. She says, "I'm a wife. I have a husband. I have a house, and I have a dog." She says, "I have a lot to lose now." So the maturity nature of her, it goes beyond her as an athlete, just to being a woman of strength and acknowledgement, mature-wise. You don't really find too many good people who are superior athletes. Her feet are like her hands. I'm studying this left and right. I mean, I love the athleticism of gymnastics. Every muscle is toned to 100-degree tightness. I mean, her face looks like stone. Like, I'm trying to get my face like that again. No Botox, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, just amazing strength. Flipping on a beam. How big is the beam? I forget how big the beam. That's just amazing to me. Her floor exercise, just, you really can't talk enough greatness about her. But I'm just really just love in her within her maturity and able to handle the pressures of being the best gymnast ever to grace this sport. I mean, it's an unbelievable time for us. I think, and also another thing too. One of my buddies told me that there's an Asian gymnast is getting paid more than her. She should be the highest paid in this sport. That's another thing that bothers me too. That if that is true, that she's
Mm-hmm.
not as paid as the most decorated financially. I hope that she will be decorated financially because there would be anyone saying like her. And I'm sad. I don't want to bring racial in things to this. You think about Serena Williams and Cheryl Sova, is that her name? The other
Uh,
tennis player,
yeah,
Maria. Right, I know
Maria.
her first name is Maria, but what is it? Sarah,
Yeah, Sharapova.
paid more than Serena, and Serena was the greatest talent in the champion of women's tennis. So we're seeing the same situation within Simona and this Asian gymnast who's getting more than her. I mean, let's call it what it is. It's sad. The best should be paid the best. You look at football or any other sport, your best athletes or prospects for that team franchise are getting paid. I mean, she should too. So, my hat's off to her forever. I'd love to meet her one day. I think she's just a phenomenal icon, one for the ages. She's one for the ages. She's the greatest to ever grace this sport.
Definitely,
And I hope she gets
definitely.
paid too.
She definitely.
So,
Brother,
uh,
Brother Will, what do you think about Simone Biles?
I think Jeff definitely made a lot of good points. She's definitely the best I've seen. I noticed Jeff brought up Dominique Dawes. I think that's really cool because I know that she actually has mentored a lot of the current Team USA players and a lot of some of the black gymnast legends that we have now. So seeing that and that representation really matters, and it's awesome to see that kind of manifested now. And Simone is going to be that next generation of that. For the youth. Everybody knows Simone Biles now.
Yeah,
The team from top to bottom, is well put together. I see this as I think their third gold as a team in the last four Olympics, which is crazy. And you know, they're the gold standard, man, for a reason. But when it comes to Simone as an individual, you know, she she's special, man. Like she's tiny, but she's so explosive and powerful. Like like on the mat, on the beam. Some of the ways she can twist and turn and flip. And as high as she can jump. And some of her routines and everything. Like I've never seen anything like Simone Biles, man, for sure. You on mute, bro?
they said the way she leap, the way she takes off with her tumble, when she tumbles and stuff in the air. They said she's like 3 feet above the basket. That is insane.
Bro, Kevin Durant said he thinks she could catch a hoop and dunk it.
She probably at 4'9". She only 4'9".
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's real crazy. But let's go on to our next topic here. Let's go on to Olympic basketball here. Team USA. Let's see. They got off. There's 2-0 so far. They beat Siberia. Serbia on Sunday, and
South Sudan.
they had a little first half. It was a little tight, but Kevin Durant, man, he was on fire. Him and LeBron were on fire, but especially Kevin Durant. But Jason Tatum did not play in that game. And yesterday they played South Sudan.
right.
They beat South Sudan by 18 points. But South Sudan, man, they gave him a little bit of a game. You know, they beat him. I mean, 18 points is a big thing, but you thought they beat him by 30, 40 points. But yesterday, Joel Embiid didn't play yesterday. So we got Jason Tatum, first team All NBA. Also won a championship ring, did not play. And yesterday, Joel Embiid did not play. Steve Kerr says because of matchups. Brother Jeff, give us your wisdom on this United States Olympic team and the playing time and what's going on with them.
Certainly, just like the Three Stooges. Certainly, like Curly. Yeah, man. This is my bread and butter here. So you look at Mike Krzyzewski when he was the coach. Let's go back to Bobby Knight. Rest in peace to Bobby Knight, by the way. When he was the Olympic coach, it was a different ball game then. The world didn't catch up. The world caught up now. So Steve Kerr is saying that it's about the United States of America, and it is about the individual that needs to step up in that given time to represent your country. This is not what he said is the NBA where I have to play you according to your contract and popularity. This is about us winning as a unit. So it's not as the same structural playing points as the NBA. This is a whole new stage as the world stayed within your country in the Olympics. Joel Embiid is hurt. So it's a blessing that he's getting rest right now. We're gonna need him down the stretch in a big game. As far as Jason Tatum, I don't know how true it is, but he said that I'm here as a starter to play. He said you wanted somebody to sit on the bench called LeBron's son. I don't know if that's real or not. Maybe that's some fake tabloid, fake narrative, whatever it may be. But it's real simple. They must play their position. The best five are starting to put the pace for the U.S. team to a win. So that's LeBron. Who else is starting? Trying to think. Steph Curry starting.
Steph Curry. Anthony Davis started yesterday.
Anthony Davis been great. I'm glad, he had a hurt ankle from playing against South Sudan. So you see where this is going. So it's real simple. It's not that hard to decipher or to break down what this chemistry and what this movement is within the U.S. team compared to NBA players playing on their established franchise. It's just that simple. So one game at a time, the next player has to step up. Halliburton came off the bench and hit some big threes. I guess see that's what it's about. As far as South Sudan, let's not forget something. Luol Deng was one of a player in the NBA. I was a Luol Deng fan. He played for Chicago Bulls. Luol Deng was the number 2 ranked high school player behind who? LeBron James. 2003, that year,
yep.
LeBron was number 1 in the country. Number 2 was a guy named Luol Deng.
Yep.
So Lou ain't no punk. Lou's serious with it. So Lou invested his own money to the South Sudan team to be where they are. And you know what? They're the team of the future. You have already these players that play in the NBA. Thor, I forgot some other players. I think they play for Iowa State, if I'm not mistaken. Some of the other players there played with Halliburton. They played with Taylor Horton Tucker as well too. They were all teammates. Played at Iowa State.
Yep. Hold on, Taylor Horton Tucker, and where's he from? Simeon.
Yep. That's right. So they all played together. So there's a commentary within those players. So a lot of the players that are on the South Sudanian team and throughout the world, their NBA experience, their American basketball experience now. And believe it or not, and I'm sad to say this, ahead of the curve of our now current American basketball players, unless your name is Cooper Flag. There's some other few good talents out there I haven't taken a look at just as yet, but give a lot of love to Luau Dang for what he did with that team, what he's going to continue to do with the team, and the government of the South Sudan who are backing him. So they don't have an indoor facility yet. After this Olympics, they're going to have a indoor facility for them to perhaps bronze next Olympics, or even better when the World Games come up. The World Games is what, 2 years. Expect them to probably upset one of the big powerhouses. I mean, South Sudan has length, they have the experience, they have the right people backing them within Ivy, that played here in the United States. I remember him as a player, Ivy. And of course, Luau Deng. It's one of my favorite players of all time. Love Luau Deng. Actually, Luau Deng tried to reach out to us during the documentary time as well, too. So I've always had a lot of love for him. I even met some of the women that tried to talk to him, and it was kind of funny. He said he wasn't from the Sudan. He said he was from London. He was saying, "I'm Luau Deng from London." So I guess he's now out of that. I guess trying to get to the women and saying, "Okay, I'm from the Sudan, where my people were from before I had to leave the Sudan to go to London." But we have a lot of, say, communication amongst each other that we never really got a chance to meet. Anthony met his brother. My brother Anthony met his brother and a lot of his friends, but he was willing to meet with us at that time, but I don't know why it didn't happen. But yeah, I think Lou is the future of that country's basketball program, and look out for them.
Gotta come off mute, brother.
I know. Something. It was this wire here was getting hot. That's the reason why I'm like, yo, man, what's going on here? You ain't burned this sofa up. That's why. But that's what I was looking at. Like, oh wait, something's hot over here. But yeah. Will, what do you think about USA basketball so far? What's going on?
Man, they're doing what they're supposed to do. I do think that as we call them, JB, some of the casuals online are making a lot more out of the rotations. And you need to, like, at the end of the day, like, they're winning, by double digits every game. And I do think part of it is like, I think it's more so like a matchup as far as what Kerr and his staff are looking at ahead of the game. And that's what they're basing it off of. I think that Kerr, even when it comes to the Warriors, he's not always the quickest making adjustments on the fly. He's a good basketball mind, but as far as adjustments, that's not his strong suit. So I think that's what people are confused by. Like if you see, let's just say the way the game is going, somebody doesn't have it going. All right, Steph doesn't have it going. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we switch it up. Maybe we give Halliburton some run. Instead of sticking to the game plan, executing. Okay, these players play this. 5 to 8 minutes or whatever. Then we swap out for this lineup. You have to coach based off of what's happening in real time in front of you. And I'm not acting like I have more basketball knowledge than somebody who played for Team USA and won titles in the NBA, as a coach and a player. But it's just my opinion, you know what I mean? Like from what I see. So at the end of the day, they're winning. They should definitely, end up with the biggest like point differential, from all the other countries. So it's not really anything to seriously be concerned about. But Steph, I think Steph's having a little rough go of it. They're using him really is just like a shooter. Not the way he typically plays on the ball as much. But that's just the sacrifice and kind of the way it goes when you're on a team with this much talent. It's hard. That's the big thing. Like that's why somebody like Derek White made so much sense. Like you do need guys that are cool and comfortable playing off the ball, because really in the international game, quick ball movement is typically what's effective. ISO ball is just what you go to, when it breaks down and the shot clock is running down. You got a few guys, of course, a Durant, a LeBron or something like that. But overall, You know, I'm not. I don't have any issues with what I see, man. The only Olympic basketball I got issues with is the 3-on-3 on the men and women side, but we don't have to talk about that, man. You know, but
Man, they are getting cooked.
yeah, it's
They
horrible.
are getting cooked.
Yeah, but
And they got some talent on that team too, but they are getting
yeah,
cooked.
on the women's team, they do. But I do want to say, you know, talk about South Sudan. I think they're definitely on to something. You know, between what they have going on with the Olympic team and then just the overall impact of like basketball without borders, and you know, some of the former NBA stars that are giving back, you know, their time and their money, you know, to the next generation. You know, you're seeing it like was it Kaman Maluk? You know, he was on South Sudan. You know, he's the youngest player playing basketball in the Olympics. You know, he'll be at Duke along with Cooper Flag. You know, really bright future, man. You know, monster. You know, 7'1", 7'2". So the majority of the guys on that team were pretty young. Like JT Thor, you know, he just got drafted a few years ago. You know, so and I'm sure they got more players that we haven't even heard of yet.
A lot of length. They got some.
They got
Oh
some
yeah,
length, man, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they got some length.
yeah, definitely. All right, let's go on to our final topic of the night before we talk about Jeff, and of course, you know, we talk about his brother Benji and everything. Um, Me and Jeff, you know, we're Chicago Bears fans. So, brother Jeff, what's it looking like this year, brother? Give me some good news, brother. What's it looking like? What's it looking like this year?
Hey, I miss Justin Fields already, man. You see how ripped Justin Fields got? And, you know, we gave the Pittsburgh Steelers a championship. They have, you know, Wilson gets hurt. Russell, you know, I mean, you know, he gets hurt. He can go cuddle with his beautiful wife Sierra, and Justin gonna do the rest. He gonna be calling, talking about 1-2 step with Sierra while you gonna be watching Justin Fields take his spot. That guy's ready. That guy's ready, man. You know what? It's a big question mark for me with the Bears right now. I should turn and see what's going on with the score right now, but you know, the whole, you know, the coaching staff, the general manager. You know, I go back to the Bears. You know, I was at the Super Bowl when they won against the Patriots. That was one of the biggest, most thrilling honors events of my life. My mother, my brother Anthony, and I were out to Benji Pass. So, you know, Mel Washington really wanted us to be in the thick of things with them being of the who's who. You know, that was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. Being around every major celebrity, and we're the two youngest there. That's in the book, by the way. I'm gonna share a little bit with you there. So my love goes back real strong, of course, with Walter Payton being a supporter of my mother's efforts. It's changed so much. You know, I think Coach Smith was a great coach. He went 10-6 that year, and of course he got, you know, ousted and replaced with other coaches, you know, and everything. I don't know what to make of this year, but the biggest, of course, is Caleb Williams. You know, everybody's talking about Caleb and the potential pick of the that's supposed to be a star, not potential pick, but the potential star of that they picked in that wide receiver. I forget his name now.
I do.
Yeah, so it's a lot of great potential on the Bears side this year. But you know, Caleb is improving. He hasn't played one pro game yet. He's not even playing one preseason game yet. It's a lot of excitement, and they're going by the template of Patrick Mahomes. That's why they got rid of Justin Fields to get Caleb Williams. You know, Chicago is talking about this. You know, people in Chicago are pretty upset about that too, saying, hey, we already had our quarterback. All we got to do is add some pieces, get rid of that number one pick, get a veteran or something to make Justin that guy. You know, Justin runs, 22 miles per hour. I think Michael Vick ran 24 miles per hour. So you talk about a quarterback who was the second in speed ever to play that position. The Bears got rid of. And another thing too, I could think about is the last game the Bears played. The general manager coming in the locker room and hugging Justin Fields. We all felt that Justin Fields was going to stay. No, of course he didn't. So it's a big question mark, but it's a lot of excitement. I can tell you where I stand here in Chicago, Illinois, right now with the Bears. It's a big question mark. It's a lot of pieces that's been added new. They're young. They have not been tested. You're playing against veterans now. You know, you're a rookie, so it's gonna be some growing pains. It's gonna be some growing pains. We're gonna sit back and watch the development of it. So that's where I'm at with it. That's where I'm at with it. We're all at with it.
I think Caleb Williams, look, he got all the pieces around him. He got DJ Moore. He has Dunze on the other side. He has the running game now with oh man, this is a Swift Swift running back. I mean, he has pieces of stuff. Can the offensive line hold up and protect him? That's going to be big too. The defense has improved, but we lost Eddie Jackson, so that's big too. I think we can have a good year and surprise people. I'm not going to make no predictions saying playoffs or anything like that. I just enjoy the season and see how the season rolls, man. Because Caleb Williams, man, that arm he has, he's got major talent. He has major talent. But I think offensively, if everything falls in place offensively, this could be the best offense we've seen the Bears. Because you know, historically, the Bears is a defensive team, not an offensive team. You know that.
Well said.
I mean, the best quarterback they might have is Jim McMahon. And Jim McMahon, we know he was average at best. He's an average quarterback at best. So, you know, we finally got a potential star quarterback. But Brother Will, what do you think about the Bears this year, man? And Caleb Williams and stuff.
And you know, Jay Cutler not walking through the doors, man. Nah, I'm just playing. No, I think Caleb, you know, has a lot of talent, and I think that honestly, you know, I believe that he on paper has the best situation we've ever seen a rookie quarterback walk into. You know, typically, you know, it's a rookie quarterback coming in drafted high. They don't have really any notable receiver that they're throwing to, you know, or the line's just horrible, you know, or they don't have a quality running back. There's always something that's missing. You know, looking at you guys, you know, depth chart and everything, like they really the front office did a great job. You know, DeAndre Swift, you know, heck of a running back, you know, when healthy. DJ Moore, we know what he can do. Keenan Allen, if healthy, really, you know, good route runner, difference maker, you know, and a good vet, I feel like, to have as well, you know, around the team. You know, that's played around, you know, a future Hall of Fame quarterback and a talented young quarterback. So I feel like he has unique experience with the rest of the wide receiver room to kind of, you know, tell them to bear with Caleb, you know, in some of those rookie moments where maybe he's not playing quite as well. And then, you know, JP, you and I talked about him a lot, man. Roma Dunze, listen, that guy, they're all phenomenal athletes, but as big as he is and as fast as he moves and the way he can jump, like, you know, he size wise, you think he's a tight end, you know, but he's really fast. And you know, his vertical, he's gonna go up. You know, he's had some of the most aggressive catches I saw, you know, in college last season, going up two hands and snatching it, you know, from over the DB's head, you know. And there are certain things that, you know, just translate, you know, and I think he's got it. And the fact that you know, you now have three receivers that, you know, should, you know, warrant double coverage, but you can't double cover any of them. You know, that frees up Swift. You know, that frees up Caleb, because we got to remember he's got an arm, but he can scramble too. You know, so man, like Chicago offensively, man, on paper it looks good. You know, the defense, you know, should be solid. You know, y'all got Montez Sweat for like a bag of Doritos. So, you know, I think really, man, y'all should be able to do a little something.
Yeah, Bears up now preseason game 21-7 against the Texans, by the way.
Mm.
Yeah,
Nice.
they're up 21-7. You know, it's a preseason game, you know, exhibition, but you know, that's a sign people are always gonna take heed to. And we all know that some teams that went undefeated preseason end up being horrible in the regular season. So, you know, it all doesn't really mean anything. It's just to build up, to get the players warmed up, to get them ready, to get the season started, to get the blood flowing within the fans, you know, and everything to bring on the football season. Football season is one of the most awesome times of the year for what, a 3-month period? I mean, you can't, you know, it's the greatest sport in America. It owns what sport owns a day of the week? You know, still I don't know any team, any sport that owns the day of the week, but football. Since I was growing up, you know, even in church, it's like, man, I'm gonna leave early. I can go ahead and catch the Bears game. We get brothers used to go at 10:30 service. They get out by 12 and you know miss a little bit of the game. You know, so football is king in America.
Now, Jeff, you definitely
always will be.
Football, the only thing I ever saw a preacher cut it short for.
Yep. You see what I said about the church? Yep.
Definitely.
Yep.
As we transition now to Brother Jeff Wilson, now we're going to do part 2 this week of you know, his brother Benji, and you know, from the way the audience out there can get very familiar, you know, with him and stuff, and everything about what the late great Benji Wilson was about, man. You know, man, what you say, man? Basketball, man. We really missed. I believe that was somebody was going to be an all-time great player, man. You know, but let's get into it, brother Jeff. Brother Jeff, we need to talk about your mother, Miss Mary Wilson, man, because, bruh, she's one of the strongest people I can recall, good brother. And not only that, but also the way she held not only your family, but a city down, and the way she just carried herself through, you know, losing a son, man, you know, and just her powerful words and everything like that there, man. Just speak on your great mother, good brother.
I'm trying not to cry, man. I'm sorry, man.
You good, brother. We understand. Definitely understand, man. Definitely.
She was everything in the world to me. My mom was a very spiritual woman. You know, there's a lot that I want to do within the legacy of just not Benji, but within the family of a structure, what I'm trying to project in a artistic way within film and story and all that about my mom as well too, to give you a picture of how impactful she is to my life as well as her legacy that she left here. Way before Benji, it was her. She was the Magic Johnson or greater within assisting people, helping people, praying with people, middle of the street, having Bible study at home, having Bible study outside on our porch. You know, I'm giving out some of the book stuff right now, but we're sitting on the porch and people will come by. My mom will have them mesmerized and stop within talking about scripture and praying. Especially when the time Chicago would start to get, it was always tough in Chicago, but it really started to get real tough Chicago with the rise of the Blackstone Rangers really in full prominence and the Gangster Disciples being in full prominence. Every gang was major. The Vice Lords, um, Four Corner Hustlers, uh, the Black Disciples. I can keep going on and on. So I grew up in all that, you know. My mom knew from a very early age of what she wanted to become within helping people. And she shared with me the importance of always putting the Heavenly Father first and honoring her as the parent and our father as the father and the elders as the elders and respecting the elders as as you would respect me as her as my mother, or my dad as my dad. Strict but firm about education. She was an old fashioned, let's say. I'll share stuff from the book again. That's how I say so much that I've held in for so many years. I don't know how other way to bring it out, but when it came with this basketball thing, my mom held a master's degree in psychology and a bachelor's in regular arts. She got her registered nursing certificate, being a registered nurse. So my mom was a psychiatric nurse dealing with the people who were mentally challenged, who were very violent people as well too. Those mental cases of patients. My mom was a registered nurse, so she was a registered nurse. So when we got sick, we didn't have to go to no doctor. My mom could write a letter. We go to school with it. Like, who wrote this? My mom's a registered nurse. Oh, for real? You know what I'm saying? So that was a luxury. Growing up like that. Mom was she was my best friend. She was our best friend. A mother first, though. She always says this at a very beginning age, because even back then, she saw the pattern change, saying, I would never have you as my children call me by my first name or talk to me like I'm your friend. I'm your mother. My mom spoke with a very royal presence, like she wasn't from this origin of this country. Uh, Very happy. She had a very beautiful laugh, southern laugh. Um, Everybody feels that mom is the best. And I give honor to all mothers. I'm giving honor to my mom. Right now, she'll give her right arm for me. She believed in education. She never thought basketball would be a thing of fame to her. She told me many times that it was a lot of celebrity people who wanted to approach her in a romantic way, and athletes and all that. She thought they were just really shallow people. My mom was offered uh, modeling contracts and singing contracts. My mom always felt that was the devil's way. um, but she was cool with everyone in that world for some reason. She never tried to discriminate against anyone. So we were raised in a household with every nationality. Um, my Benji's godmother is Jewish. Um, my godmother is of the Indian descent as well, of that region. My mom had Filipino friends, Irish friends, Polish friends, a lot of Jewish though in the household growing up because of her personality, of her spirit, and she shared a lot with me as far as what we went through, of what she went through within accepting. She says the love she had in her heart. Cubans as well too. Cubans, Jamaican. So my mom was a top student in her nursing field as a beautiful young lady. And my mom, before the stardom with Benji came, she was featured in the newspapers of going to Cuba as one of the top 5 students in her class in America. So I'm letting some stuff out the bag right now, but I think it must be told for some reason. Talking about her for so many years, I've held all this. It's a lot more to me. It's about 20 years more. I feel of information to talk about off my mom and Benji and everybody else. But she went on to become a registered nurse, psychiatric nurse, and uh, she was a fantastic cook. She was a sports mother as well too. So she loved football. My mom was a fencer. My mom had the mask and that little sharp, long little thingy and fencing, practicing in the house with her suit. My mom was a racquetball player and a tennis player. And she loved to run. My mom also, when she was in high school, didn't take it seriously, but when Benji started to play basketball, she told the story of how she was nearly 6 feet tall and towering over all the men in a way and very beautiful. So the coach told her, you run real fast. How about you just go on the court and just get me rebounds and bring the ball up, pass the ball up and just run the floor. So she did that. She played her senior year at Hunt High School in Mississippi as a center basketball player, just for the fun of it. She was just running all day. She loved to run. So it's a lot of history with her educational strictness, her household strictness. I'm not gonna say so much about her. I want that to be a surprise for a lot of people. But the drama and trauma that she went through as a young, passed for white woman, as she always said, hurt her because she saw the effects of how her uh, dark-skinned family and friends were treated, and they were the same family. I'll give you one example. On the bus in Mississippi, her mother, they'll have the mother sit in the back and have her sit up front as a white woman.
That's that.
Deep. So my mom taught
Yeah.
the heart of growing up in the South at that time. Uh, and then when she got home, she got uh, scarred from it. It's a lot to talk about with my mom. My mom went through a lot of adversity, being, she said, light skinned, as she called it, or mulatto, pretty, and mannerable. And plus, she was so tall. I mean, 5'11", 6 feet tall. Back then, for a woman, it's like, wow. And, big hands, long feet, not to mention pretty. So she was a very unusual looking woman, growing up, even times now. I mean, it's more common now because we have the WNBA. Candace Parker's 6'4", and Lisa Leslie's 6'5", and a lot of, female ball players. I think Asia Wilson is 6'4", so, but still, for a woman, 5'11", 6 feet tall is still very tall. It's as tall as me. That's my height. So, my mom, again, she was the best, fantastic cook. She treated everyone in the neighborhood, children like their own. She was very honest. Uh, she had a great sense of humor. Um, Again, very spirited woman. If you said a curse word around her, you better have uh, your insurance card ready to go to the hospital. But she wasn't violent like that. But she will, within me or within Anthony or my friends, say, "Come here," saying the devil don't exist here. Okay, when someone curses. And that's always been a saying too, that when you swear or curse a lot, it means the devil is present. So you're bringing on negative energy towards yourself. Um, she believed in being the very best that you could be. She was a motivator, encourager to all. Um, my wife reminded me a lot of her. Super encouraging to everyone that crossed her path. Everyone. Uh, Willing to give the last of herself to see that person become successful or comfortable. Um, she didn't stop. After Benji passed on, she opened the Benji Wilson Youth Foundation, and my mom took me and Anthony all around the world to speak on behalf of love, peace, and stopping the violence. Everywhere she went, she was the draw. That year in 1985, there was 3 people that were the most wanted to speak or to be invited to major events in this country. Number 1, Michael Jordan. Number 2, Mr. T from Rocky, the A-Team. And number 3, it was my mother. So to give you an idea,
Yeah.
the draw she had, it's even known too that my mom changed the face of nursing because a lot of nurses were just there for a paycheck, and she really cared and loved people. She even went beyond the call of duty to do other people's jobs that were lacking, and to make that patient's life even better. And the same thing was in the household. Same thing was on the street corner on our block. Someone was lacking something. Well, hey, they need something to eat. Hey, well, we can go ahead to Kentucky Fried Chicken up the street on 83rd and King Drive and get them something to eat. Or we can go to Collins Food Store in our neighborhood, in our community actually, and buy some groceries. That was just who my mom, is. Just angelic. I miss her so much, man. She was so strong, and she cared about our well being within what happened. So because of Benji dying, that's why we've ventured off into other parts of the countries and parts of the world, and I was very fortunate for that. So within my brother who would have lived, of course, he would have taken us around the world. But my mom decided to do that then for Anthony and I. So she was a fantastic mother, man. It's a lot more to tell. It's so much more to tell.
Yeah,
Uh,
I can imagine. I can imagine, brother. And man, because like and we talk about academics and stuff, and I mean, your mother was a remarkable woman, man. Like you said, like I said, man, I never met your mother and stuff, but I read stories about her. I know she had the book with To Benji with Love. I remember that too. The picture of him and stuff. I don't know if you get that book anywhere. It might be out of print or out of stock.
that's a controversy with that too. Actually, people told me, I'm trying to build a book myself, but I can base the film off what she wrote, then off what I have written already that's not out yet, because I feel time is an essence, and I'm trying to get something done within uh, telling my mom, well, the real life story. There's even some things my mom wrote in that book. Certain people who were forged friends of my brother that now should not be mentioned. I'm going to say it again. Forged friends who now cannot be mentioned. And I made some posts on my Facebook page recently about conflict of interest and uh, evildoers, what the scripture says in the book of Proverbs, are not going to go unpunished. Because for over now 40 years, it's been a kindness taken for weakness within people using my brother's name, selling his likeness, his jerseys. Uh, we haven't got a red cent. Again, I have to move forward, and people told me some really, I have pain that needs to be talked about. Why can't I talk about my pain too? Everybody talks about their pains. Here's a legacy. People want to know why this hasn't happened, because it's not my fault that people promised me the world and did the opposite within what they're going to do. I control the narrative, the creative process of what should be done within my brother's legacy, along with my brother Anthony as well too. It's only us now. Uh, I want to say this for the record. I've never tried to disrespect anyone in my household. So when I'm saying I'm talking about my brother Curtis, to be honest, the love I have for my brother Curtis is one of the major motivations that made this happen, because he doubted me from the very, very beginning. Just like he doubted Benji for being a ball player, he doubted me for saying no one gives a damn about this dead black kid from Chicago who's supposed to be so great anymore. And me being a DJ, me being involved with acting, I was able to meet some very great people. 1991, 1992, 1993, the golden age of hip hop, 1994, 1995. Those were some awesome years for us. I think we can going back in time, thinking about those times, right? So I met some awesome people, and they told me then in Atlanta, I dated a young, beautiful lady there, went to Clark, Atlanta. They found out who my brother was. It was like, bro, yo, you gotta be bullcrap. You're not his brother. I'm like, I was in a place in Atlanta called Midtown. I was at a jerk chicken restaurant with uh my lady friend at the time. Um, and people were blown away. Like, look, we know who Ben Wilson is. Your brother, I'm like, wow. So then I went to New York. It was a bigger outpouring in '98 when I went back to New York. In '99, it was like, wow. And that was the vision. That was the vision. California, the same way. Like, wow. So and I said to myself, if I have the three major cities knowing about who my brother is, this is going to take off really, really great. Within the doubt, what my brother Curtis was actually saying, and as well as people in Chicago were saying the same thing too. No one gave a damn about who my brother was anymore. But here's the thing that made it a great situation, the faith thing of his legacy. It was people that brought it up again. Like when I wake up in the morning sometime, my brother's on a basketball page and there's 1,000 people commenting. It was one page I saw was like 24,000 responses or something like that. I'm like, wow. So, that's just showing you the impact of my brother's legacy and the love that people see in his face. When you look at his face, my stepson made this for me. I have it on my desk. I remember when he took this picture too, and it was like, that's my brother for real. So I was 11-year-old boy. That's my brother for real. And, I saw him every day. So, I didn't look at him as no star. That's my big brother. But now he's gone. His mannerisms, his maturity, I see that, and it's like he's still here. It's a power within his presence of looking at his pictures, the maturity in his face when he was at the AFB Nike camp, the picture I just showed you, it was something special about him within. This is a death that needs to be recognized of being unfulfilled to be still talked about within not just Benji's legacy, but other unfulfilled legacy that are out there. It's like he's the face of young youth that has been taken away from us within having this great potential of achieving something monumental to change everyone's life. And instead of the change of happiness, we live in a change within sorrow and question. When I look at now the young officer here in Chicago, 32 years old, a Cook County sheriff, name is Officer Oswell, I think it is, uh, trying to help someone to get gas, and someone tries to carjack him and shoots a officer of the law. Or I think about so many youth. I have a friend whose son was what it said was mistakenly shot by Chicago police officers, and she's in mourning forever. Uh, so many young youth, 16-year-old, 15-year-old, so many of them. Even a 3-month-year-old baby shot in Little Village. That's the village they call Little Village, the Maycano community here in Chicago. They shot his father and they ended up shooting the baby. The father survived, but the 3-month-year-old is going to have complications for the rest of his life. So there's a lot when I think about the ongoing murders, violence. My brother's legacy is forever a connection within what is sadness amongst families, what is sadness amongst the community. His legacy is a story, like if I said before, I say it again, that will always be for generations to come.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you 100%. Bill, you have any questions?
Uh, Absolutely. So, circling back, you were talking about your mom and everything she had going on with the foundation. I just was wondering, what's like some of your favorite places that you got to, see around the world with all of the great work you guys were doing.
My biggest was Jamaica because a lot of the people there called us family. A lot of people say you look like my son, you look like my brother, you look like you're one of me. Um, to learn too that some of our ancestry came through there before they came here to America is just an astounding fact. It's a sad fact of what we go through as a people. There's family members that have been sold off that I actually ran into there, being on the island. So Jamaica, to me, I think my brother will agree too, was the most awesomest place. The love, the water, the hospitality, the realness. We had a few of our, say, family members there. I call them family members to kind of discipline us when they saw us going astray, and telling us don't be like them over there, don't be like them over there, you know, um, not to be so say hateful, but they were very strict about our well-being within us not being like the rude people over there. So that's my biggest influence of visits. I would love to go back soon again to go back home. Our ancestry came from the St. Anne area, not too far from where the great Bob Nestor Marley was born. So I'll give you an idea of who my brother is and uh, where some of our descendants came from before they were sold to come here to the other deep south, which is Mississippi. So the south is the islands, and coming off those islands is the south of the United States, which is called Florida. Then you have Alabama, Mississippi, and all of them. So our people were sold uh, amongst those regions coming here to this country. So hearing the stories of what they told us about slavery and how strong we are as a people, it meant a lot to me as far as my development. So this wasn't a place to visit to have fun, but it was a place to visit to uh, get educated, to come out the darkness, let's say, of who and what I'm really made out of, So
Yeah, very
yeah,
insightful.
I'm very, very thankful, very, very thankful for so my mom taking me there. My mom had experience going back there a very long time ago, and now to my brother and Anthony and I to experience that. My mom said, I've been there before within the history. Now you're going to know more about your history being here. And my mom always believed in surrounding us with strong, strong men. And we were around some strong, strong men being there who were major disciplinarians. And I'm very thankful my mom giving me that experience. I haven't been there since 1990, and it still lives with me.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. The other thing I wanted to touch on, man, is just I feel like a lot of times, you know, I feel like we hear about when there's like athletes in a family, we hear about like they got it from like their dad and everything like that. But I thought it was really awesome, man, hearing just all the many like sports and things that your mom was into, man. The one that really, I would say, caught me off guard was fencing. I thought that was really awesome, especially after seeing, in the 2024 Olympics, we had a black woman win the gold in fencing. So, just seeing that kind of full circle, man, I thought that was like, just awesome.
Yep, mom was ahead of her time, I guess, huh?
Oh, big time, yeah.
Yep, my mom fenced. I remember, like I said, that thingy wire in the house, that sword thing, and the mask, and the bodysuits, and the books that she was reading upon, and all that. Mom was very versatile, So all this is true. A lot of people who grew up with us in the city of Chicago. My mom kept a lot of things saying. My mom says, you really can't share a lot of who you are with people because they were sent to resent you, and that very much is true. I realize that now as I get older, as I've gotten older, actually. So for me to bring this out now is just part of my connection back to my Heavenly Father's essence, and everything is coming within full vision of things now, especially after experiencing so much tragedy, death recently. So I feel a lot of this needs to come out to kind of let people know our truth and root within who we are as a people, and what our family's about. It's a lot to be told. I'm kind of, like I said, I need, let me say that, I need to have what I'm working on to be still kind of like disclosed, because I want people to be just um, surprised and blown away by what my brother's legacy is. I put some truths out there on the tribute page. I put that summer, actually put it this way, from the editor wrote from 1983, that November, until the summer, August of 1984, my brother played at the AFB Nike camp, Prairie State games, and five other, well, it was a tournament in the spring, and then four more in the summer. So that's six, count them, six tournaments, or major basketball events my brother played in and won them all within that summer. Like I said, I tried to research Lou Alcindor. I tried to research, and to me, no one at that level has done something like that like my brother has. Now, out of those tournaments, you may lose a tournament because you're playing so much ball. Brother won every last one. Went on to the AFBE camp, became #1 player in the country. Went to the Prairie State Games. That's the Olympic version of the Prairie State Games is the Olympic version of Illinois. He won that, along with Tim Hardaway, and Nick Anderson was on that team, and David Knight, his high school teammate, who was also a superstar type of talent as well too. David Knight. So I gotta give love to David Knight. Awesome player. I was there when my brother was no longer alive, and David Knight was the one that took over that team. David Knight became the best shooting guard, really, you can say the best player in the state that year. I think it was given to other players because there was so much attention on Simeon. They didn't want to make it so obvious. So since it wasn't Benji, they couldn't give it to David Knight because it's supposed to be Benji's year. So that's why he wasn't player of the year, but he was the best player in that state that year. He was just phenomenal. I was a 12-year-old kid watching Michael Ingram play, or Gerald Haywood play, or Tim Hardaway play, or Tracy Dildy at King play with this young kid coming up named Marcus Liberty. So basketball for me has always been second nature as a young child because of my brother. So I had to get real familiar with these players. But see, back then, no one was teaching me the IQ of it. It was more basic. And Chicago was real hardcore. They were saying, he ain't good as your brother. He ain't shit. Look at this guy here, showing me the stats of this player. Or it was no mechanics involved, So it was there, though, going to see Michael Jordan play in the summertime at the IIT on 35th Street. Chicago State got overpacked, so they had to put it at IIT on 35th. It was a bigger gym, so people came all the way from the far south side coming up near north to the northern south side near north to see these great players play. IIT is a very high institutional school for technology. So you have a lot of your Chinese and Indian students from around the world that come here to Chicago to go to that school to learn to perfect their graduate requirements upon technology. So that was high cotton back. It still is high cotton. Thinking about how those games were so powerful, and they were free too. They were free. You could get in and see Michael Jordan play. All your favorite NBA players you could see play for free. And the gyms were hot. The women were out of sight. Everyone who was who's who was there. Did I say the women were out of sight? Yeah, the women were out of sight. So it was a lot of. It was just one of the most awesome times ever, and everybody around the country was here in Chicago during that time to come play in IIT. And we call it the IIT game. They call it Pro-Am, but we call it, it was the summer games, they got the labels on it now, but yeah, when Jordan played, wow. And a guy named his name is Chucky Vision, who recorded a lot of that history with Jordan playing those games, and of course Benji would have played in those games his senior year. You had to be a senior in high school going to your freshman year in college to play in those games. But my brother was announced as top player in the country when he appeared at the game. His friend Tim Bankston was player of the year that year by account of his peers playing in the Pro-Am games that year of '84, the summer. So I had a picture of my brother, Tim Bankston, and Coach Hamber. I could see it this day. And over the years, so many pictures have gotten taken, not lost, but taken. And that was just a very beautiful picture of seeing how tall my brother was, the weight he lost, then he gained back from the summer. I don't know how he did so much over that summer, but I know one thing for sure, he ate like a horse after he threw up. After my mom put the IVs in him, I was there. That's another story. I can tell you that. My brother played so hard, my mom had to put IVs in him. And then putting the IVs in him, he had a game that night. He was taking them off, going about to play again. My mom had to stop him. Ray Hanley's like, no. Coach Hammer calling him up the house like, he's not playing. My mom said, he ain't playing today. I hung up the phone. My mom got upset. How dare you? My brother was still like, it was unbelievable. Like I said, I don't know Michael Jordan. I would love to meet Michael Jordan. If he gets to see this interview, no offense taken, but you have to kill my brother to beat him. And sadly to say, I think about his demise. That's how strong he was. Like, you gonna put a gun on me? Like, really? So I know people may not like that, example. I don't like it neither, but to show you how fearless my brother was. My brother will forever be a man, and that man who pulled the trigger is forever a coward and weak-minded, and still using that excuse to this day as well too. I can say that because
let me say that. I'm going on record, man. Billy Moore was a punk, and he still, you know what I mean. That was, as a matter of fact. Look, I don't use language like that. That was a pussy move. I hate using language like that, But it's the truth though. Only a pussy would do what he did.
Well, let me say this.
It was cowardly. It was a cowardly act.
I have to stay on the high road, and
I
not
know.
all women can stay on the high road. That's what my mom told me, because my mom warned me that what he said recently was going to happen. My mom predicted this to me long time ago, during the time my brother first being pronounced dead. The weeks went on, and we got the information back. So my mom, being a studier of the mind, and experience of the mind, told me this as well as others what was going to transpire within the Moore family. And my mom was dead on correct. So we don't want to give him any energy within that. But like I said before, this is true, my brother will forever be a man, and he will be what he is, being a coward. And I can say that, and using an excuse of murder to now voice a reason of why he did it and feel he's done no wrong still. That's the biggest thing that surprises me. And let
That's
me say this more too.
insane, brother Jeff. I mean, that's really insane. Like, yo,
He never apologized. He never said, again, Jeff Wilson, I'm sorry for what I did to your brother. Let me share this one incident with you too. The Holy Spirit was with me so powerful that day when Common joined us. Now, Common didn't have to do that. Brother Rashid did not have to do that. But he did join me and my brother Anthony within meeting the man who took Benji's life. And when I went to go shake his hand, I reached my hand out to him to shake his hand for some reason. And this is a spiritual reason of proving the point of who he really is. He took my hand like this and threw it at me. Now, remember now, it's 500 people watching us. We're on stage. We have a Grammy Award, Oscar winner, and Common on stage with us now, with Arnie Duncan, who is the former Secretary of Education appointed by President Obama, who knew my brother Benji well too. Mr. Duncan told me your brother was Magic Johnson plus 10. Unbelievable player. I played with him, man. I'm like, wow. He's like, he was my friend. Your brother was, So it's interesting that I put in my comment on my Facebook page, conflict of interest. You're my brother's friend, but you're advocating the man who took his life, the murderer, within your program. Where is two little brothers at who's supposed to be the head of that or part of that, not the murderer? It's reversal. We're supposed to be the one speaking and helping. If he wants to do that, fine. But the first in command is Jeffrey Wilson and Anthony Wilson, not the man who pulled the trigger, who caused this nightmare for the rest of my life. It's still at times where it's a lot within losing my wife, losing my brother, and now I go back in the past of losing my parents, and of course losing Benji. It's not a life that I would want someone to have. My immediate family is pretty much gone. There's a family within my brother Anthony. I don't have children alive. I lost two of my children early at birth, so they're with the Most High. Let's say that. So it's a pretty tough life. I'm not trying to get a sympathy story out of this, but I'm just telling, I guess, truths about the results of now where I'm at within the life, and most importantly, what I am still in pursuit of doing. The movie, the book, a stage play, TV series. These are all dreams of mine. I pray before I leave the earth that will come to fruition. And I thank you all for giving me a platform to talk about it. And anyone who wants to help, I'm willing to listen to two of them. But it's an awesome legacy, awesome story to tell, and I just pray that I can make it come to fruition.
Yeah, it's a story. It's definitely a story, brother, that needs to be told. And of course, I was 13 when your brother Benji, what I mean, was I think the first time I heard about your brother was August or September that year. I remember reading the USA Today sports section because before that, Danny Ferry was considered #1 junior in the country, and then they were like, well, right now he has been overtaken by Chicago player named Ben Wilson, and I knew Chicago had Isaiah Thomas in them, but I'm like, man, #1 high school player in the country is from Chicago, Ben Wilson. Because look, I was 13 years old, man. I had all them books, Street and Smith, all that stuff. So I read about your brother. And it was in the USA Today. He said the Sporting News got his number as the #1 player in the country. So I said, okay. That year, I said, okay, I'm going to follow this dude named Ben Wilson. I need to know more of who he was. I didn't even heard. I did through all my old magazines I had. He wasn't even in there, and I'm like, man, this guy came out of nowhere apparently. So I remember, when was that? November 21st, no, 22nd. It was an article in the Philadelphia Daily News. I read the article, and it said that Ben Wilson was shot, and they said it was in critical condition. I was like, huh? I'm like, man. And then I remember that next day, because I was like, well, I hope he pulls through in everything. And I remember the local newspaper we had up here. I think it was the Burlington County Times that we have up here in Jersey. And up at the paper, it was a big article on your brother, and it said Chicago star slain. That's what it got to bring up, bad memories. But I was just like, wow, you have got to be kidding me. They killed the #1 high school player in the country. I was like, this can't be true. And I remember that night, I was going to a football game because we had Kennedy High School, which I attended for 3 years before I went to Willingboro to shut down. But Kennedy and Willingboro was playing. And I remember we were in the car, me and my friends were in the car. My mom, I think, was taking us to the game. And Sonny Hill back then, he used to come on. There used to be a guy named Phil Newman. He used to come on WWDB. And Sonny Hill used to be the guest every now and then. And I remember they were talking about something about high school basketball. And I remember Sonny Hill specifically saying Ben Wilson was a big time high school star. I just remember that whole clip of him saying that. And it was like something that you never heard of, because you never heard of, especially a player of that magnitude. And even since then, you never heard of a player of that magnitude suffering what happened and everything. And you know what, Brother Jeff, it's still shocking 40 years later. Like, it's unbelievable that, this happened. And I'm going to tell you another thing, too, while we talk about your brother Benji. I actually forgot about your brother Benji for a minute. Till one day, Common had that song called Black Baby. And when he rapped the second verse, I knew specifically who he was talking about. And that jogged my memory about your brother again. And it was like, okay, wow. I remember the article they had with you in Slam magazine back in '95 with Scoop Jackson. You wrote a article in Slam magazine called Nothing But Love. About your brother. And had an interview with your mother, your brother, and I think your brother Anthony and you. And I remember to see all three of you in there and stuff.
They pictured Anthony with my mom, but me and Scoop Jackson met, and I gave an interview before I went back to Atlanta to be with my lady friend at the time. Yeah, so when that interview came out, Anthony had the picture with my mom, which was now like, I wish I could have been, me and my mom had a picture together. We always had, so Anthony was there actually. That's when Anthony was Anthony, yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah, but
remember. I,
yeah,
I remember that article and stuff. That I remember. I read about that because Slam magazine had Ben Wilson and stuff. They had that. Then I
I'm
remember.
gonna go.
Oh, oh man, what was the other magazine they had? And another magazine that had, and they had a section called "When They Reminisce Over You," and they had an article on your brother Benji in there. And I remember they tried to interview Coach Hambrick, but he said he didn't want to talk about it, and he said just let him rest in peace. I remember specifically him saying that in that article, and I was like, wow. They were talking about how it was around such time when LeBron James was coming in the thing, and they were saying about how Benji was LeBron James before LeBron James, basically his stuff, man. But
Yeah,
man, all that goes back to with Benji, man. He was Brother Jeff. I didn't see highlights of him until years later. But Brother Jeff, two things that stood out to me about your brother, man, was one, shot blocking ability. I remember they showed the one shot block he made, but then that behind the head pass he made was one of the best passes to this day I've ever seen a basketball player made. I mean, he had the ball, he just went, it was like magic, like it was like, wow, like, and I was like, man, I didn't know he had passing ability like that, man, and it was just amazing.
yeah. I wish it was some type of video of him at the AFB Nike camp. From what Darren White, he played for DeKalb. DeKalb was a downstate school. He said it was he said one of the best he's ever seen in his life. He said at that point the best I've ever seen. Your brother was a 6'8" guard and just controlled everything. Like it was no one better than him on the planet. And there's other people I've talked to too that told me the same. His friend Tony Jones, who I pray he's well. I know he's involved in some very big things in his life. And he told me, Jeff, Michael Jordan wish he could have been your brother. I'm like, get out of here. But I'm not surprised. It's my brother. But for Michael Jordan being who he is, you got to remember too. I've seen uh, clips of him in Len Bias. I've seen clips of him and Larry Bird. I've seen clips of what people told me about even 5'11", 6-foot guard Tim Hardaway coming to the cup on him, where he couldn't penetrate against faster guards. And I think about NBA games back in 90 and 88 and 89 and envision my brother there and what the similarity is with Grant Hill. But my brother had a longer wingspan and a bigger foot and a longer stride. With, I'm going to say, uh, Benji wouldn't likely not call him not athletic. That's always a thing on him. If he had to jump to go to the back over the backboard, he would jump to go over the backboard to prove a point, but he didn't have to. So listening to and reading and looking at the NBA in those times, he would have transformed the whole league. I think just like Michael Jordan would have done. It would have been those two. Not to leave out Len Bias, I feel he would have been in that mix as well too. But I'm talking about my brother though. Okay, out of respect, my brother, and he was ahead of his time. He was already shooting NBA range, 23 feet, 24 feet then. If you take a look at the documentary, I can see the clip of it. I played ball myself, so the free throw line, the first line was 19 feet 9 inches in high school. In college, it began to be, I believe, I think it was still 19.9 in high school. I think in high school, it was 18.9 in high school. In college, it was 19 feet 9 inches in college, or was it 20 feet 9 inches? Anyway, my brother in that video shot way over 23 feet 9 inches in that video clip on that documentary. I don't know where they got the clip from, but I asked the director, the director at the time. Well, it's supposed to be. I told you about my feelings about what happened with me, but
they promised me to get me that footage of that game, him playing in the summer. So they must have paid someone a really big penny for that to happen, right? And I think you all know what I'm talking about. You've seen the documentary, him playing in that Adidas camp where he just shot
Is that
hoop
at
after
Princeton?
hoop after hoop after hoop,
Yeah,
and you know he looked like a pre-Kevin Durant.
yeah, yes. Was that at Princeton with that clip? Was that at the Adidas? Was that the camp where he showed
No,
out
I
at?
wasn't. No, I wasn't the camp. I don't know what that was, but
Okay.
they all wore Adidas.
Orange. Orange
Yeah, it
girls.
was gold. Yeah, they all wore Adidas. Now Adidas, believe it or not, was the top shoe everybody would be part of. You know, Michael Jordan wanted to be part of Adidas, but see, he made Nike the way he made Nike by a blessing, of course, through his mother, of course, for what accounts say. But everybody who wanted to be somebody was Adidas. And Patrick, you I think got to deal with them. So, um, like I said, I don't want to let too much out the bag, but there's a history between, let's say this, between my brother, Nike, and Adidas. I'm gonna say that much to keep you all on the
And,
edge of your seat. Yeah.
and you know, brother Jeff, I'm gonna tell you something, man. That's the player your brother reminds me of more than anybody, I think, is Kevin Durant because they both were Nike. They both had the long arm, the real long arms, and I think your brother might be a better ball handler because he's more of a pure ball handler, like a point guard type. Kevin Durant can handle the ball, he can get it twisted. You know what I mean? He can pass and stuff too, but I think your brother might be a little more smoother with the handle, like a Magic,
Like I
like
said,
controlling the game type.
he
But
played point guard at the camp. He played point guard at the camp. He played point guard at the summer.
but
So
but
yeah, that was good. Yeah, he played point guard. Yeah,
but as far as the shooting mechanics and the long
yeah.
range, the lankiness and everything, that's who your brother reminds me of more than anybody is Kevin Durant. And like just if you wanted to be a pure scorer and could pass, could rebound, and another thing about your brother too that people might not know, he was a tremendous shot blocker as well.
7'3" wing.
Yeah, 7'3" wingspan. And brother Jeff, we don't get a chance to really talk about this because I remember in that this is crazy. I remember this stuff from almost 40 years ago. In that article, they were talking about how much of a good student he was, and I think it was your next door neighbor or somebody, and he told the next door neighbor like, "I never want to be a dummy in life. That's why I take my academics seriously." And I remember to interview some of the teachers from Simeon back then, and they said that your brother was 1 in a million. He's such a great student. And I think he was top 5 in his class. So, that's another thing that doesn't get brought out a lot about your brother was how much of a great student he was as well.
I can share this with you. This is my desk, my office, my desk right here. All this where I study in my Bible, my notes, and all this. So my brother used to have this light, this little night light, and I do the same thing because I've learned from him. So he'll get his glasses, and he'll tell me, Jeff, no phone calls unless it's Coach Hambrick or at your time. He said, anybody else, no phone calls. And he'll put his face, like I'm putting my face to you all right now, in the book. Which I got to show you before I love it and just study. Like he'll put his face in the book with his glasses on with that nightlight for about 2.5 hours till he got his work done. And that's when he'll come out and I have a list for him of everyone who called. And there was some even trying to tell me, it's important. Like, I cannot disturb him while he's studying. That was my order. That was my order from my big brother. So for people saying what they said about me, I'm very angry. And I pray the Father gets me better with that, within people saying what they said about me. Like I said before, within me talking with Shannon Lee, Bruce Lee's daughter. She was only 4 years old. Here I am, 11, and at a ripe age of understanding, and especially my brother again told me everything. For some reason, he told me everything. I guess he told me everything, him probably knowing the outcome of his life. For me to still be in pursuit of still trying to tell the story and bring the story to light. Because again, the documentary again was supposed to have at least some respect in to me. A lot of my creative thoughts were taken and they just put their name on it. And that is the truth. And I can give those examples. Um, First, it was supposed to be, of course, it was me within the brother. Um, I didn't come later like I was an average Joe. You had people on there who were not in love and fondness of my brother. I'm going to mention a few of them. I think you already know who a few of them are. Those friends who one quote says, he called me up after he told me that he had a baby boy and called me up. He didn't call you up, lying ass. You know, a lot of lies. Um, that will forever fuel me because that was me. That was me telling the life of my brother's legacy. And it's supposed to be Jeff Wilson on there. You know, Cole with Anthony Wilson. Me as a brother. The only thing I other got to do is just be there because he is my brother. I'm my brother's keeper. But no one was my brother's keeper during that time. Uh, how things went about was just so wrong. Like I said, I took a punch in the stomach, and I have to forgive, and I'm gonna keep on going with what is gonna be the real life story. And um, my goal is Oscar. My goal is Emmy. My those are my goals. I know it's a story that will warm the hearts of millions of people. It will touch the hearts of millions of people. It will wake up a lot of. It will answer a lot of questions of the answers that's been, say, undertones for so long. So I want to thank you all again for giving me a platform. I mean, no one in Chicago invited me to their podcast, invited me to their show. She's always, has always said that in Proverbs 18:24 that a stranger will take love to you more as a brother. And that's what you all are doing for me right now. You know, it's just how it is. Yes, God can say the best. Home is where the hatred is, man. Home is where the hatred is. That's just the truth. But one thing about Chicago, though, there are a lot of there are a lot of Chicago people who don't know who I am, and I work every day in the city, and they just say I don't know what, and that moves me a lot. Chicago is an awesome place. The love that I've had here, being who I am. I don't, I go by my spirit, my spirit name Israel, and because I know if I say the name Wilson and this, and then people will start to, pick up a little bit, which some people have done. I mean, I ran into high school people I went to high school with, like, it can't be you. Wow, really? People. I had one person tell me, "Man, I thought you all were rich. I didn't know you did, work like this." That's a funny one because see, that's the fame talking. My brother did not go to the NBA. My brother did not get a shoe deal worth $100 million. My brother, so that's just the worldly aspect of things. How people put fame and money as success, and I mean, I give it all to the Father as far as what He's going to give me. I don't look at uh, my brother as a cash cow. It's just, as my mom always said, you do what you love, the money will follow. I told this to a young lady the other day, and all of us, you must be benefited for your fruits of labor, for your labor of work. So, writing every day, uh, formatting every day,
planning every day, uh, having meetings every other day, uh, that will begin to pay off. That's just the common nature. It's like a fish to water. It's as a human being born and breathing air, you know. So there's nothing wrong with that. I never have been a person to, like I said, like what happened with LeBron James' son and other people. I've never got anything because of who my brother was. Nothing, 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 nothing. Not funny to say this. Everybody who lied and say they were cousins or brothers, you'd be surprised. I met your brother. Oh, who? I met him out in some state or some other city. Or I'm like, really? Like, describe him. His name is John, man. Right? He about this tall, this and this. He looked just like Ben too. You know, I'm like, light skinned tall players, right? A lot of players are saying that. A lot of people were saying that. They just touched my brother one time, and now they're his brothers. And I had one strange story. I was getting my car fixed by an alley mechanic, and I had my basketball. I had, Chicago, to kind of not be a victim of someone trying to harm you. I had basketball pictures on the back of my car. So if someone pulls up the stoplight behind my vehicle, they'll see the basketball, Kobe, LeBron, and Michael, and my brother on the back in newspaper articles I had, right? Real tripped out stuff, right? So when my car broke down, my neighbor gave me to his alley mechanic. This is a real funny, true story. So I had my basketball. Actually, I got to show you a design of it. So I had my basketball on the back, rear end, like you driving someone's, rear view. So it's a basketball in my rear view back, and with basketball pictures of these famous players. So the guy began to fix my car. He's like, "Oh, you a basketball guy, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. It's my life, And he's talking to me. He was like, "You ain't gonna believe who my cousin is." I'm like, "Oh." I said, "Who was your cousin?" "Ben Wilson." I'm like, "What? Really?" Tripped me out. Yeah. So I played along with his game, And this is not the first time this happened either. I have plenty of stories like this. Because I don't look, until people say I do look like, but I look like my mother. So my mom always said, Benji looks like you just have your dad's, heavier, darker hue. Anyway, so as he began to talk, I was like, "Do you know his brother Curtis? You know his brother Jeff or Anthony?" Yeah. They're kind of distant though. I was like, "What does Curtis do for a living? Since you was cousin?" I don't know. He was doing something, right? Like he's trying to get one of his friends to talk about it. Like, I don't know Curtis though, but I do know Jeff. Jeff real cool though. I said, "Brother, I'm standing right in front of him. Like, you can't make this up, right?" So after I told him, and then the expression on his face just dropped, and I told my neighbor, like, my neighbor sent me over to you for a reason, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I want you to be surprised by that, right?" Unbelievable stuff. The guy didn't know what to say. So I met the guy's mother and told her, like, who I am. Like, this is kind of tripped out your son to, I said, you never know who you're going to meet. So that really surprised me. Then I met this one guy when I was at work about, say, 15 months ago. Started talking basketball. And he says, "Yeah, Ben was my nephew." I said, "Nigga." I'm going a long way again. Then he came to say this, says, "I knew Ruben and Curtis." But I was like, "What about Jeff and Ant?" Oh, he said, "I didn't know the two younger brothers." But so how can you be a family member and don't know the brothers? I said, "Let me show you a picture, man." I showed him a picture. I said, "You know who this is?" He's like, "Nah." I'm like, "Man, it's like, get your ass." I just went off on him. Now my brother's in my phone. I got a picture of my brother on my phone, always. I take it as what Wilt Chamberlain said.
about the 100-point game and his flattery. You know, guy was like, I was there. You scored the 100 points back in 19 so and so and so. It wasn't 19. You know, it was, I forgot what year, but you know how people exaggerate. I met people like that too. I met your brother Ben back in 87. I'm like, okay. My brother actually died in 84, and that's in my head. But it's the flattery of the legacy that people want to be part of. You know, so it's it's a lot.
Yeah.
With that, yeah. So I'll share that with it. Yeah.
So Jeff, we're gonna wrap this up, but not next week, but in about 2 weeks. We have to do another part on this. Don't you agree, Will? We have to do another part on this, part 3, because we want to do a third installment. We'll do a third installment. We want to definitely focus on Benji's junior year. Yeah, we want to focus on Benji's junior year, definitely, and senior year. And we want to definitely focus on that, good brother, because this it's a lot to cover with your brother, man. We covered the ABCD camp. We'll cover like his junior and his senior year, and this was going to be one of the top 5 teams of all times if your brother was still with us. There was no doubt about it. And we need to get into that too, the other aspect too of Nick Anderson transferring to Simeon because of your brother. Because at the time, you believe Nick Anderson was a top 5, but I think he might be the number 1 sophomore in the country, or number 1 junior in the country coming in. Your brother was going to be the number 1 senior. So that would have been, you talk about them. That's gonna be for another day. Though. We definitely got for part 3 of this, good brother. We definitely do.
It is a lot of. I was going to say, I think you all give me a love and a platform to talk about it. This is therapeutic for me, especially of course what I've been through. So I'm still in pursuit of doing. Like I said, the film, the book, I can tell the dream. I want to have a TV series based. I want to have a stage play based. Of course, the movie based. I want to have those ultimate events the world can see. It's just but my brother's life is one of the most biggest what ifs in sports history.
It is.
And I'm not telling you that, but that is a fact. You look at the path that he's taken, that he accomplished so much within what no player at that level has done, going into the college level next. And just to mention as well too, not to give so much out, but I was told it was a post many years ago on the Basketball Diary. I want to end it up real quickly. I want to say this real quickly. Jeffrey Wilson didn't say it. Jeffrey Wilson did not say it. Other people said it, saying that the post said was Ben Wilson really good as advertised. And people say, I thought he was not all that, whatever. People came out of the woodworks, and Jeffrey Wilson didn't have to say nothing. The response made me cry, like it's love still there. So there is some great points to Chicago that I do love. But one thing that stood out of all those posts was this: Ben Wilson dominated pro players.
Yes. We've heard the stories. Now, when we do part 3, we definitely want to go over his junior, his junior, senior year. Also, Coach Hambrick. Want to talk about him, and also the legacy of CBI basketball with Derrick Rose and Jabari Parker, and you know what I mean, and all them. Because I always like to remind people. People say, "Oh, that's where Derrick Rose went to." Nah, Derrick Rose is great, but you always got to remember the foundation is one Ben Wilson. He was the foundation of Simeon High School. He was the one that made Simeon High School into a national powerhouse and put them on the map. But yeah, good brother, It's been a great show, man. Like I said, we're gonna bring you back because I think next week's gonna be it, the track episode, because the Olympics be in full spring by then and everything. But we're gonna bring you back in about 2 or 3 weeks, brother, to do this part two. To do this part three, definitely, because like we said, it's so much covered, and we're gonna revisit that domination that he had of the pros too, good brother, because it's been. I've read articles myself of him taking it to some NBA, as we talked about last week, taking it to some NBA players, man. But we're
You
gonna.
know, so yeah, like this is all part of the book that I'm actually telling now, but we're gonna save that because I know it's time to go. And again, brother, thank you for having me on the show. Again, both of you all, love you guys, and like I said, I don't mean no harm for what Chicago has done to me, but home is where the hatred is, man.
Yeah.
No one came to me like, let me commemorate your brother, what you trying to do, Jeff, give you some, you've been through an awful lot carrying this, nothing like that. So I appreciate you all, a great deal. The people out there, watching, I need you all support, anything that you can add. I'm trying right now to, we'll talk after the show. How about that? We're going to talk after the show.
Because we want to, man, look, man, any support we can give, brother, you want to get it. You want to get it from here, man. I'm sure I speak on behalf of Will with that too, man. Whatever you got, man. You know what I'm saying? We here to support you, good brother, definitely. But Will, you got any questions or anything, man? Kick your shout outs, good brother.
Just shout out to my co-host as always, JP. JJ that couldn't be here. Of course, man. Now not a guest but a friend of the show. The good brother Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. And on behalf of brother Jeff Wilson, of course, JJ out there skating somewhere. Of course, parts unknown, and my good brother here, Will Lyons. Of course, we say peace. Enjoy this Olympics, because it's my time coming up this week. This track and field. It's my time this weekend. Let's go, Shikari. Them gold medals home. Let them know USA, the mama and daddies of track and field. Let them know we the sprint. Please. But on behalf of us, everybody out there, have a great weekend. Enjoy this weekend, and we say peace and love to you.
Peace and love.